Yo, 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 yo. It's your favorite rappers, mother's favorite rapper. And we rocking out with Rap Shyt magazine, little bitch.
What up, y'all? It's your boy JTP, or JT as they call me now, with Cracklands Media. We're here with Rap Shyt magazine. We about to drink some tequila, take some dabs, talk some shit, and then go to sleep. Let's get it.
Your first bars, your first raps.
Ooh, shit. I wanted to actually be in a rock band before, because I didn't like rap until like 9th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
So
My
you
dad
like
was
rock focused.
This is real facts, too. He ain't bullshit.
I wanted
This is
to
real
be
shit.
like
Metallica. Yeah.
Nirvana, Soundgarden, shit like that.
This motherfucker was a Kobe fan to the fullest when he was in high school,
So I
bro.
was fucking writing like rock songs, but then I started getting into rap in like 8th, 9th grade. And then I was writing like a couple bars, but it would only be like 8 or something like that. Then I'd step away. But then probably like my freshman year, my buddy Hollow asked if I wanted to just start rapping. And I was like, I ain't got nothing else to do, so started doing it, and somehow just developed a crazy passion for it. I've been going like 10 years now.
Crew, started with Crew.
Yeah.
Actually, this is real spill. This is a Pontiac story for everybody that's a Pontiac fan here watching the interview. We started with Fat Mahone. We started with Fat in his basement, man. We was with Mahone back in the day, bro. Like sophomore year, we used to go to his house, literally in the basement. We was friends with his nephews, right?
No, it was 2 sons.
Sons, Corey and Damari. Man, we was boys with them, so we went over there, bro. We literally used to rap in the basement, and then he moved into what's now Bub Webb Studio. So we had transferred over to Bub Webb Studio, and then obviously, so that's cool. Is actually too is as we've grown, we've got to actually see people in Pontiac. Like we started with them when they was in like little basement studios and shit too. So that's crazy. That's, you know, the more I'm obviously back out in Pontiac with Cracklands and stuff, and he's in the city now more with us, and you know, it's cool to be back kind of full circle with this shit. It goes swinging with people that we started with. So that's cool. I forget about that we did start with down there.
I never really developed the band because I didn't know like people who actually played instruments.
Okay.
So it was just kind of more like I was writing lyrics. And then when I first started rapping, my middle name is James, so I went by James or J Shepp for like the longest time.
Okay.
And then dropped the J, just went by Shepp. And then I forgot when I picked up the Simply, but
Yeah, bro, that's a.
one day I just started
I
calling
don't
myself
even know when you picked that
Simply
shit up.
Shepp.
To be real with you, like that's one. I don't think we've ever figured that out.
Yeah.
Can't pinpoint when it happened, bro. At some point it became Simply Shepp. Like we didn't honestly kick it for a couple years. Like what, for like 2 years maybe? And then you and Hollow came and see me when I was in the hospital, and that was when like at that point he was like Simply Shepp. Like I was like, I dig it. It's like it's fire. You know what I'm saying? It gets you to like, I'm simple, but wait till I get on this beat real quick.
Right. Now what is the Shepp? What's the where that comes from? Cause as soon as I heard, I'm like, he a shepherd? What is this?
Yeah, that's my last name.
Lead the flock.
Is,
Word? Okay.
Shepherd. So, and my childhood nickname was always Shepp. That's what my parents called me, my friends called me. So, I was just kind of like, all right, who am I trying to be? I'm just trying to be me. So, Simply Shepp.
It's weird when you hear somebody call him Matt, like Chelsea, like like bro, like what? That's not his name. Knock it off.
Not many people call me by my government.
So what was the like aha moment for you guys as artists when you realized like y'all had something, right? Everybody just starts rapping, writing bars. You know, you might do a demo track here or there, but what was the aha moment where you was like, bro, we own to something. We might actually be able to change the game.
The first time I felt really confident, like I was onto something, was probably after I wouldn't say won a show, but after I placed like highly in my first couple. That kind of gave me like, all right, I've only done like 3 shows and I placed 2nd place, 3rd place at all 3 so far.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
that shit kind of made me realize was like, maybe I could take it somewhere.
I get to do this one because I get to answer like when I knew he had something going, and then when I knew I had something going. So I knew this motherfucker had something going. Like I said, so I was really sick. A lot of people know the story. That's something I'll tell y'all the whole the time. But this man came to see me his first show. Like, was it ever? Was it your first performance ever? Yeah, came and saw me at the hospital, and I think you placed second that night.
There wasn't like a competition, but we ended up earning some shit like from performing.
Yeah,
an interview.
And then so like when I got out the hospital, I came to one of his first one, like one of the first ones I had came to when I had got out the hospital.
Shout
it
out
was me, him, Marcus, our boy Jack at the time, Hollow. We had all went out there. Crowd freaking. His mom was there, man. Like his stepdad was there, his little brother was there, and it was the first time I watched this man captivate the stage, bro. I stand in the crowd. I'm sitting there smoking a blunt with his mom and his stepdad that are getting like old school freaky to her son music. Like she was like that was a cool ass moment, and you could see everybody in the room was like rocking with that shit. That was when I realized he had it. For me now, you know, the camera journey's been kind of crazy. I don't even know if there's like a particular moment like when I knew I was like, damn, I'm cold with it. You know what I mean? My journey's been kind of weird, kind of humbling. I've came really far in the first year. Even sometimes I'm still in denial. You know, as an artist, you kind of like, sometimes you have a moment you're like, yeah, I'm figured out, I got it. But then some days you have them days where like you overloaded and you're like not happy with some of your content. But a real big moment for me was Love and Lyrics. You know, obviously the city of Pontiac knows a lot about Love and Lyrics. For those who might not know, it's we have an organization called Love and Lyrics Inc. We host open mic. It's pretty much we're here just to help the youth learn the importance of fine arts and help curate the industry. But being a part of something like that was definitely like cool as hell because I got to capture, you know, the moments that like brought really a sense of what we're about in Pontiac and what music itself should be about. It's just a room of networking, and so like generally that gave me my first like fan base, you know, and I don't want to say fan base, but first base of supporters that like really pushed me and got me to word of mouth. And then so boom, fast forward a year later, now like a couple moments that let me know I had it is, you know, I've got to work with former, you know, Grammy producers. I've worked in, you know, I've been booked in multiple states. I just got booked in Cancun. So just moments like those where you get those bigger bookings and things like that, and people ask you to be a part of, you know, future projects and build with them. Those are the moments that for me, I'm like, you know, clearly there's something there. So that's kind of where it comes from for me. I can't really like, every time I try to like explain it, like it's hard to personify exactly, but essentially like just had a very hard background growing up. Dealt with depression since I was like a young kid, and through that, like literally, and I say young kid, I mean like 9 years old, I knew I was affected by it. So I always thought I looked at life a little bit differently, but like not in a bad way. I just felt like throughout growing up, I always saw like the realer side of life, like the real issues, the real beauty behind certain shit. The real like what community is actually like. I see like people for what they really are, like good. And so like when trying to come up with a name, like I just wanted to encapsulate like that, like I want to capture the world for how I see it, because it's so much different from what I, you know, see other people talk about it as. Like especially now, people say the world's full of hatred and all that stuff. It's like it's not. You look around, there's beautiful things going on right now. Like we're building more than we ever have. So the crack comes from the background's kind of cracked, but within those cracks, like I found the most beautiful shit. So that's what I want to do. I want to capture stories that ended up in like the most beautiful shit, whether they had a hard, you know, journey to get there or not. So essentially that, you know what I mean, just taking the downsides to life and making them positive is where that comes from. And I know that's my man, so they could be like, he biased, but no, I really do it all. Like, and like he had to work for that shit. Like he used to have for sure, like we used to joke in the studio, that's a Shepp beat for sure, like, you know what I'm saying? But nah, man's has really touched kind of like every style. I fuck with that shit.
Yeah, I could, if I gotta get into a bag, I could get into a bag, but I'd probably say I major in lyricism. When I do my dolo shit, it's always something, a grimy beat with just bars. That's like my favorite.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
This is his hardest question, bro. Like, real still, you ask him this question all the time. As this so many times, I think it's a different response every time.
Well, yeah, I'd say there's two answers, because most of the time, if somebody doesn't already know my music and they want to get hip, I'll send them. I got an unreleased joint that I always send out.
Okay.
And then
Is it ever?
yeah,
Yeah.
ever could.
Coldest shit ever.
And then
Stay tuned.
if they do want to hear me and they're like interested to see what I'm doing, I either tell them to listen to like Before or
Come Alive project.
Live.
It's on everything, and it's fire.
Okay.
Those are like two of the. I don't know. I feel like those are two of the verses that are like crazy with the bars, but they also explain who I am pretty heavy. I don't know. I was trying to display my skill a little bit, and I was going through like a really rough patch of just like being angry. So a lot of it had to do with like anger issues that I was just turning into songs.
So, now, what was the name of the album?
Come Alive.
Come Alive was the name of the album. Okay.
Simply deep, bitch.
Shepp Simply Deep.
And Hollow, because he came up with that. I went to go record the song Come Alive, and he was like, "That's what you should just call the album, Simply Shepp Come Alive."
So, now how many tracks was on the album?
13.
It's a good win.
And on there is my favorite track I've been a part. Well, one of for sure. We got a song 03 on there. That song was really fucking dope. Cause like for me, music wise, like I do music just kind of more for the enjoyment and the love of it. Fuck. I almost died. Fucking. So for me, like music is more just like a passion thing. Like, you know, it's not my main thing. You know, everybody has their main thing, and for me, it's I love to do it because it brings me enjoyment. Music's always been a therapy, but for me, it was cool. You know, this being his debut project. You know, watching his journey go from and even being a part of, we had been on songs before, you know, we've been on songs we did a project called Coach House, so it's like we had made music before, but it was the first time as, like him, bro, is my favorite rapper, like through and through. Like you can see when I post on Spotify this year, he's in my top 5 people I listen to every year. Like that's no cap. Like when I say I love this man's music, it's like, yeah, we boys, but like I really sit here and listen to Before, like listen, you know what I'm saying? I'm a real life fan. Like shit, we've had times when we beefed out before, like not even really beefed out, but stepped away from each other just, you know, as adults. And like even then I'm like, y'all don't listen to this fucking music, bro. Like this shit turn me the fuck up. Like On My Soul with him and my boy Hollow is like definitely top 5 favorite tracks of mine. Listen to that's in my daily playlist. But he sent me a beat one day and he's like, "Hey bro, I think you could fuck with this beat." And so that beat I ended up fucking up. Like I didn't record shit to it. I came up with it. He's like, "Bro, you ain't even touched that beat." And then he threw on this other beat. And is that Evan's beat? I want to say is it 03 Evan's beat?
No.
Okay. So he starts playing the beat and he kind of gives me the chorus to it, and so essentially 03 is just about like we came like far as hell, but like we're real as shit about the fact like we still roll around in 03s, bro, and it's like crazy. After we made this song, he had a 03 Taurus, right? Bro, I recently just got a 03 Taurus station wagon, bro. So like really life, like it's crazy as hell, like. But it was a cool time because like he said, he was going through a lot, and I think generally through that period of time, I think as a group, a couple of us were going through some shits, and it wasn't a period of time when necessarily like we was kicking it all the time. It was more like a self-reflection period and shit like that, and generally like ended up popping out one of my best verses because I was like, I know if I'm about to come on this bitch forever, I gotta do justice so I don't get washed. But like also he had just like picked a perfect beat, so it was like cool as hell. And it's like basically that's what I do with my music is look for attachments to like real life. Like I just like to make my music about real shit. Like people have made jokes before, like I make a lot of sad music, but it's like it's not like sad, it's more like, hey, go through shit music. That's the type of music I like, you know what I'm saying? Like Juice WRLD, Kid Laroi type of shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. But so 03 is definitely one of my favorite tracks.
03 is a good track.
Then the other, like he said, he's got, you know, if you want to really talk about songs that like help people get to know you as an artist, I have an unreleased track. It's a song called Pain. It's actually a double feature again. It's from 2 people I made music before, Shane Foster, or Shane that's got like capital S and it's like periods in between, or Royce Ariel, she's from LA. She lives in New York now. She's been in AZ as an artist. She's in New York now. But that song was a song that first time I had like curated a song really for myself and really had put together a whole song. Like I did the verse, I did the hook, and really just had 2 features on there just because like I had visioned the songs we had previously, and I was like, damn, it was sounding good together. And so like that for me is a song, and it talks about just kind of like I've been through hella shit, you know, but like if anybody out of anybody on this video knows me, it's like I'm still here, you know what I'm saying? I'm a happy ass kid and I'm still fighting every day and generally changed my life off hard work. And
he'll
like
stalk your mama if she talks shit. I'd say that's kind of why we make it, you know? That's the music is supposed to help us balance the mental health. And if shit does start to get like overboard, just step away. That's what I've learned is the best thing. Stop treating it like it's a job and like you have to wake up and clock in every day. You don't. You know? You can take a break, step away, and when you come back, it's gonna be much clearer, much better. So just don't overthink it, overdo it, or over push yourself, man. It's cool if you gotta take a nap or if you wanna go spend a day drinking with your friends or type shit. You gotta make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because if you get caught up, because I mean we all do it for passion and love, but when you really get deep into it and you're trying to make it something so big and so extravagant and like other people can't see it, it does start to become a job, and that's where the mental health starts to get like over rail, because now you're trying to balance your real life with the life that you're trying to create. So you just gotta step away sometimes, even like work, man. If you gotta call off just to, you know, you really can't go in because you ain't feeling it, call off. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So like he kind of said, like I think it's something we both had to learn too, is like I said, there's a point, me and him were both like working probably like between 60 to 70 hours a week at one point, and we were still, and this is like post-hospital, so I wasn't even like super healthy, I was still in like recovery mode and shit, but like we were literally working 70 hours a week, and like we would still be going out to the studio, bro. I mean, we would literally be, I mean, it was me and him for, what was that, like 2019 through 2020? It was me and Shepp, I mean, like 5 out of 7 days a week. It was just me and this man just like kicking it every day, and we would literally get out of work late as hell. We'd go to the studio, we'd kick it to the studio 4 in the morning, high as hell, making music, doing whatever we need to do. And like I think there was a point that we both kind of got like burnt out and stopped, like even it affected writing, it affected the whole kind of creative process, because it got to be a point where, like he said, like we're so focused on how to like blow up and make money and monetize off it and be Drake and 40, when really like that's never why it was started. It was always started just because it was like we were some kids that went through some shit and it helped us get through the shit. So we both definitely, there was a period of time where I think like he definitely stopped making music. There was a time where I didn't do anything creatively, like and because we did have to learn, like even like in friendships, like there's times where like friendships sometimes get strained, because if you're friends with a bunch of artists, you know, as artists you're always working, and sometimes that can create stressful situations. So just overall life situations, you had to learn when to give your like, and not only that, but like you want to give your all to it, bro. And if you're continuously doing it every day, you're not giving your all to it, because your body's tired, whether you think so or not. Your body's tired, your mind is tired, you're physically, you know, stressing. Like, yeah, you might be in the forefront, seem like you're awake, but subconsciously you think about the fact that shit, my bill might be late, I gotta work in the morning, shit, I still got a 45-minute drive home from Coach House, or whatever the fuck it might be.
How can you put out your best work if your mind and your body isn't at its best?
Exactly.
You know?
And for me, like, I enjoyed, you know, I was always a kid that like, I always felt like, and it's funny because this box says the word I'm about to say, I always felt like a kid, I was in the background, so I always felt like I had to try extra hard to be, you know, in the foreground. And it's crazy because, you know, you pick up a camera and all of a sudden it's not about being in that forefront anymore. And for me, that generally like changed kind of like how I looked at life. Like when I picked up the camera, you can ask him, bro, like I kind of disappeared from, obviously at events and stuff, you see me and stuff like that, but I kind of disappeared from being like the guy. I just started working, and it was more about like, I didn't care about taking pictures of me. Like if you look online, I don't have a lot of pictures of me like in behind the scenes of me and actually in action, because I don't often have come people do BTS and kind of stuff like that. I do have some, just being in, in the network, but for me it was more about like, fuck that, bro. I'm trying to see people smile and, their special moments, because like, you don't get a lot of those in life. So I'd rather be the person that made the impact on life, because that's always what I wanted to do. It wasn't about I just wanted to impact people. I wanted to let people know that they're important, seen, heard, and to pick up something like a camera. It just happened to be so cliche, but it's perfect, because now I get to actually literally do kind of like what I wanted to, and it was never something I had set out to do as a kid. I literally picked this up a year ago, and I showed interest in it a year and a half ago. You know what I mean? So it was, but it helped, a lot, because you can see so much through behind the lens and through photos. Fuck y'all that said I was ugly, bitch.
You still ugly.
Oh, I know, but I'm like, that's what I tell people, bro. I'm medium ugly, but I'm like the perfect amount of medium ugly, because I'm funny, and then I'm like, I got the red hair, so it balances out. Because I'm unique, you know what I'm saying? But like, actually, it's funny that that's kind of like generally kind of like where I pull from. Like, people generally like look at me crazy sometimes just because of the shit I'm wearing. Like, for example, I have fucking playing cards on my ears. Like, I'll bet my paycheck this week you cannot name me another friend of yours that has fucking playing cards on their ears.
My buddy Danny.
Fuck Danny. He doesn't have no playing cards on his ears. So, no, like when I was in high school, I generally didn't grow up with a lot of money. A lot of the clothes that I had were like hand-me-down stuff. It was a lot of, like generally like me and my brother shared clothes when we were kids, shared clothes with homies back in the day. Like, you always hear stories from like artists like Meek Mill has like rapped about it multiple times, like used to share home, rock the same clothes, fuck the same home, what I'm saying? Like, I literally used to rock clothes. Like, my homies literally used to give me clothes and shit, and I'd always, like I said, even with my brand, I always felt like I looked at life different, so I always knew I wanted to be different. Like, I always knew, and like, some people say it's cocky, but like, I also knew I was here for a purpose, and one of my purposes was like, I've always been a loud kid since I was like a kid. You can ask my parents, my grandparents, and so I wanted to represent like my soul through my clothing, like through what I'm wearing, because when you see people on a daily basis, like, when as weird as it is, we live in a world that's like sadly so kind of like superficial, or like, but like one of the main things you kind of look at somebody when you approach them is what they have on, and a large respect is gained just by first impressions. And I noticed that as a young age, and I never wanted to give leeway to ever say like I didn't show up professionally, or and that's something that works for business, but I kind of understood youth, and generally, actually, like, it's kind of weird, like, I never thought about this till I was older, but like, my brother, when he was younger, like in middle school, my brother used to wear like the weirdest shit. I thought was the weirdest shit in middle school. He used to wear like lime green skating pants, like super skinny lime green skating pants, and like purple hoodies, joints, like some crazy shit. Everybody used to, but like, one thing I always respected about my brother, and still to this day, is like, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck if nobody thinks about him. And now sometimes it's iffy, you gotta, in certain situations you should give a fuck, but like, with that I was like, he don't give a fuck with no like random peer things to him, and that's something to be admired about. So the more I got older, it started with sneakers. Both of my best friends, my best friend Tim, they both honestly gifted me pairs of Jordans. My boy Ro gifted me a pair of Jordan Stealth 3s, and my boy Tim had given me a pair of Jordan, like, he got game 13s, and that was like right as we were getting into high school. Like, Ro had given me in freshman year in the locker room of high school, and then like my other boy Tim, like my best friend Tim, like my brother, he had given to me just at the house. Like, he had gotten 2 pairs in a great deal, and he was like, I want you to be a part of this with me. So obviously through sneakers I just kind of like started developing like attachments in the fashion world. And so in high school I kind of wore like some designer shit when I could afford it, because I was shooting blue money, like, but also wore like different shit. Like, I would wear pink foam posits with a polo top and like some fucking True Religions, and like, that was like different at the time. Now that's the normal outfit, but like at the time people used to clown the fuck out of me, and like,
Shepp over here now.
Yeah.
Shepp over here about to leave us.
So I always like was insecure too about my red hair and shit, so I tried to distract from my red hair by clothing. But then like, once I got confident about my clothing, it honestly kind of pulled the confidence just about in general. Like, when you look good, and I don't care who the fuck you are, when you feel confident in an outfit, whether you go into the mall, the gas station,
Facts.
bitch, a funeral, like, it doesn't matter. A good outfit will make you feel like a whole different human being. So, like, generally, a lot of the times it was just about, like, me feeling good for me. Like, it would generally just make me feel good. So, you can ask him, bro, like, I would get dressed up to go to the gas station. I'd be at home chilling, boxers, no shirt on, and I'd get up and throw on a full fucking outfit.
See, that's
just to go to Speedway.
Boxers, no.
And so then, like, as I got older, people actually kind of just, like, started to respect what I wore and shit like that. And, like, then I started popping out with shit like pink leather jackets and shit. And this was before, like, MGK was popping with the pink shit. Like, generally, like, that's one of my idols, like, but, like, I was generally doing different shit like that before it was, like, huge in the fashion world. So I was, like, I always kind of knew I had a niche for it. And, you know, now I've had the opportunity to actually walk as a model for William Palmer Home, a brand named Sweat out of Detroit, and, like, the Shoe Depot out of Oak Park. And I've gotten to go to, like, International Modest Fashion Week in Chicago, which was, like, a historic event. And I've been around actual, like, big time players in the game. And I've had people tell me, you know, like, top tier model, like, we love your look. And, like, that's a cool feeling to, you know, elevate from a place where, like, you didn't really have a sense of style or place in the world. And now I've reached a niche, and, like, modeling was kind of a dream for me, like an untold dream. Like, I had never really, like, been vocal about it, but, like, to have that feeling, like, when you walking down a runway and there's a whole building full of people and just,
it's a great,
you know what I'm saying? Like, the runway I walked down, there was some lady, she's like, hey, how you doing? This auntie single and ready to mingle tonight, you know what I'm saying? Like, just funny stuff like that. And, you know, now that I'm more into the modeling world, it's actually become less about the fashion. It's more about, like, just the environment. Modeling used to be a very different industry, and now models come in all shapes, sizes, colors, tax brackets, the whole 9 yards. And at every level that I've been at so far, I've learned some new things. But, like, overall, I've learned, hey, I'm a broke model. Holla! Broke models are the best models. You wanna know why? Because we give you them fierce ass looks. We hungry. We got noodles at the crib.
This is the hungry.
What do y'all pull up in, overalls?
Don't play with me. I got 2 pairs in the closet, bro. Why you gotta say that? Cause, like, really, you open that closet behind you, it's some fucking overalls in there.
You gonna see a motherfucker looking like Joe Dirt in that.
You ever seen Jack Harlow in overalls? I don't look like that.
Hilarious.
Why are you looking at Jack Harlow in overalls?
He was at the Kentucky Derby or some shit.
Everyone sleeps on the networking. I see a lot of dope artists, especially on social media, who are always, like, feeling they should be in a spot that they're not in, but all that they're doing is posting on social media and rapping in a room. So they're overlooking the fact that, I mean, to get where you want to be, you have to know people. I mean, nobody, it's hard as hell to just scroll through YouTube and be, oh shit, this kid's dope, let me sign him. Right. You gotta make connections and you gotta meet a lot of people. That's how you're gonna go from local to global. So I think a lot of people overlook that. It's marketing and network, I'd say.
Okay, dope, Jay. How about you, man? What do you think people who jump into photography, even now you jumping out into modeling too, what is something you think people tend to overlook that's like, hey, this is important, y'all don't know.
I'm gonna ruffle some feathers with this one. This is gonna be real, cause, like, I'm 25 and, like, you know, like, that's the one thing I face as an obstacle in a couple of these industries is people kind of look at youth still somewhat. You know, there's people that don't, but there are still a lot of people that kind of look at, like, if you don't have what they deem a certain amount of experience or whatever it might be. But at 25, the one thing I've learned that people very, very lack on is everybody wants to be, this is gonna go for photography and music, but everybody wants to be like a National Geographic photographer or a Grammys, you know, media person or a massive music video, you know, director for people like Cole and, you know, Kendrick and all this shit. And, you know, for artists, people want to be Drake and 40. But the number one thing people lack is, like, the ability to actually be Drake and 40 with professionalism. I've been to, you know, a whole ring of events, from your lowest budget event where, like, it's literally they're throwing this with no budget, all vendors, all volunteer work, you know what I'm saying? People just come in, they're gonna obviously make their money as a vendor. But then, like I said, I've also worked at, you know, somewhat NDA, but I got to work, I can't tell you about the production and stuff, but I got to be a part of International Modest Fashion Week in Chicago, thanks to Drip International Modeling Agency. Through that was a It's a $300,000 production show. Now obviously there's small hiccups during there, but like a show that's that large, had international members, had people from multiple countries in the middle of a pandemic with, you know, people having to get visas and things of that matter. It was on time, you know what I mean? There was slight hiccups here and there, but for a $300,000 show to be able to go on with a very small handful of hiccups, you have people coming from different states to do media that have never met before and operate on a media team. You have models that are, this is their first time walking. There were some models, you know what I mean? But the one thing, you know, that we learned from that is the models that were there and didn't show up on time or didn't follow direction, you know, they had opportunities from that show to go walk in Paris, France. There was models that literally lost that opportunity simply because they showed up 5 minutes late, you know, and
professionalism important.
And people don't understand that, and like that's one thing, you know, I definitely won't say that I've been perfect with it. It's definitely something I struggle with, like when I was first in business, like trying to communicate well and do contracts and do things like that. But definitely like the best thing you can do for yourself as an artist and as a photographer, videographer, or even if you have your own business, like, you know what I mean, is protect yourself as a professional by making sure you're always on time, making sure you're on contracts, making sure if you're working in a larger group project, make sure they're making other people sign NDAs and that you also sign that type of thing, because we're in an industry where sadly people do steal work and people do also critique way higher than, you know, sometimes maybe deemed valuable, because everybody's human. But like, if you really want to make it in the industry, you do have to understand the cutthroatness and you do have to show up on time and stuff like that. So definitely I'd say that's where the industry as a whole is lacking for the younger artists and media members and things like that, is just show up on time, communicate on time, you know. If you're somebody that, you know, let's say you got booked and you can't make it, return deposits. Don't be weird, you know what I'm saying? If you can't make it to an event that you were booked at, just communicate, say why. People understand you're human, and just, if you love it, it's simple, you know what I'm saying? You'll understand shit like that, because you don't want to mess up your name in an industry and an area that you love. Exactly, like it's about more than just you at that point.
Yeah, I do got a little project of all like the joints that I made from like 21 and 22, like the start, that were sitting for a while. So I was like, all right, I gotta put, you know, these shits out. I can't sit on them no more. So I do got a project coming out with just a bunch of songs that I made.
I shot the cover in a bowling alley.
Yeah, shout out my mans. He shot the cover. It's crispy as hell.
He edited it though. I'm lazy.
Super dope. Okay, Jake, what about you?
Ooh, yeah, a lot to be excited. Actually, recently I got booked to, or the opportunity to be a part of the 2022 Detroit Choice Awards. I've been getting, I actually just met the Detroit Fire Chief, James Harris. I got to interview him at Station 59, kind of talk to him about what they do there and, you know, what it's like being in that line of work. So I get to honor a bunch of honorees from the Choice Awards and create, you know, some clips from that, and that's going to be at the Alexis Velodrome. So that's something to look forward to. I'll be a huge part of that. I'll get production credits. That's something very, very good for my resume. The biggest thing I'm a part of that I'd like to, you know, generally tell people about is the first brand I actually got the opportunity to walk for is William Palmer Home. Greater story behind them is I met Q, the owner of William Palmer Home, through a good friend and business partner of mine named Jess Elliott, that I met through Love and Lyrics, and my great friend Ray Love, who all of Pontiac knows. We miss you. Hope H-Town's killing it. We miss you for sure. Can't wait to see you. But through that, I got added to William Palmer's medium team, and we're working on a collection currently called Redline. The Redline collection, it's a project all about the city of Detroit. In the process of redlining, essentially, you know, how the black community was not able to open businesses and do things like buy houses. And it's mainly focused on the east side of Detroit, you know, being the red zone and, you know, being the most harshly affected area. So that project was also partially sponsored by Lexus Velodrome, so I'll get back-to-back opportunities to work with Lexus Velodrome. And the Will Palmer project is probably one of the coolest things I've been a part of. Gonna be a great collection. He'll have purses, gear, he'll have Lexus Velodrome gear as well, like separate from the Redline collection. I'll get the model for that too, but that's probably one of the bigger projects for this shit. That definitely means pop out. November 4th is gonna be our fashion show, so get with me for tickets.
It's simply Shepp. You can find me on social media, Instagram, simply Shepp97, or actually 1997. Don't follow the 97. Twitter, simply Shepp. You can find my music on all platforms, simply Shepp. It really don't get more simple than that, man. S-H-E-P-P. S-H-E-P-P, yes. And if you don't know how to spell simply, you fucking stupid. And we rocking with Rap Shyt magazine, bitch. Now go home, cause we done.
I told y'all, we came to drink tequila, talk some shit, take some dabs, and that's what we did. But we gave you some great life advice. You want more of this shenanigans? Follow me on Instagram, JThePhotographer45, just the letter J, not the word. Or if you want to see my modeling stuff, it's at JSIDOCK45. And then on Facebook, you can follow me at Jacob Shyt or Cracklands Media. I appreciate y'all. Let's take a shot.